In the small town of Willow Creek, mysterious occurrences had plagued the residents for as long as anyone could remember. But for Sarah, a young woman who recently moved to the town, the strange phenomena were merely rumors to her until one fateful night. It all started when Sarah stumbled upon an antique shop tucked away in a corner of Main Street. The shopkeeper, an elderly woman with piercing eyes, offered Sarah an old pocket watch. She warned Sarah that the watch was no ordinary timepiece and held the power to transport its owner to an alternate reality. Intrigued by the story, Sarah purchased the watch and wore it around her wrist. That very night, as Sarah lay in bed staring at the watch, the hands suddenly started spinning uncontrollably. Before she knew it, Sarah was no longer in her cozy bedroom but found herself standing in the middle of an eerie version of Willow Creek. The streets were deserted, the buildings were dilapidated, and a thick fog enveloped everything in sight. As Sarah wandered through the desolate town, she couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. Shadows danced in the corner of her vision, and whispers echoed in the empty streets. Panic set in as she realized she was trapped in this alternate reality, with no idea of how to return to her own world. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah's hope began to dwindle. Every morning, she woke up to the same distorted Willow Creek, stuck in a time loop that seemed to have no end. The townspeople she encountered were mere shells of themselves, repeating the same actions and conversations on a loop, their eyes empty and devoid of emotion. One night, as Sarah sat by a flickering streetlight, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was the shopkeeper from whom she had bought the cursed pocket watch. The old woman explained that Sarah had unwittingly activated a dark force that had plagued Willow Creek for centuries, a malevolent entity feeding off the town's despair. Desperate to break free from the time loop, Sarah followed the shopkeeper's instructions and made her way to the abandoned clock tower at the town's center. With trembling hands, she placed the watch on the ancient clock's face and turned the hands backward, unraveling the fabric of time. A blinding light engulfed Sarah, and when she opened her eyes, she found herself back in her own world, the watch lying beside her on the nightstand. The horrors of the alternate reality seemed like a distant nightmare as she breathed a sigh of relief. But as Sarah tried to resume her normal life, a chilling realization dawned upon her. The malevolent entity that plagued Willow Creek was no longer confined to the alternate reality. It had found a way to cross over, and its presence lurked in the shadows, waiting to strike. And so, Sarah's battle with the dark force continued, a relentless struggle against a powerful entity that threatened not only her existence but the very fabric of reality itself. In the quiet town of Willow Creek, the line between the living and the dead blurred, and Sarah knew that her fight was far from over.